It's now time for our first panel discussion for the evening, which attempts to highlight the art of dealing with setbacks in business and in life.
Some of our earlier speakers talked about the importance of recognizing failure. None of these people are failures in any sensible definition of the term. They're successful. When you started Taxi for Sure, you thought you were going to be the next big thing in the world. But I think some months back you had to exit. I mean, can you just tell us, do you see this as a setback or do you think as an opportunity for the next thing?
When you start a company, I think it becomes an extension of you. And when you have to let that go, I think it's pretty difficult. And I think I was at my all-time low, and confidence had taken a severe beating. That's when I think one of the mornings, I think my wife was seeing me throughout this. And one of the mornings my wife asked me, Raghu, tell me this. I know that TFS was, Taxi for Sure was your baby, and if you want to really do another startup, what are the things that you will do differently, right? And I think that was a great question. So during the course of building Taxi for Sure, that was my first venture, right? We made certain wrong choices. I think our technology was not really up to the mark, right? And we just wanted to do a hand-to-mouth assistance when we started, and we thought that probably we'll change it as we raise funds and stuff like that, right? But that I guess that doesn't really happen. And over a period of time, we made a lot of compromises in getting the kind of people on board, right? And the positioning of the product, of the brand itself in the minds of the consumers and in the minds of the drivers, everything was not really there. But so if I essentially want to learn back from that and see, I guess probably I will do those things differently.
Right, Farah, I think you started out more as a professional who was doing designs for various companies. And then at some point you set up your own brand and company, Farah Khan, and you joined a partner who will do the manufacturing. Can you just quickly take us through what went wrong there and how you got yourself out of it?
In the year 2008, I tied up with a friend, a very close friend's cousin, to manufacture jewelry, because by then I had lots of knowledge on manufacturing. And I offered him 50% share in my company, saying that I would be the designer, he would manufacture, and we would retail. We started off the first store in Bombay, and the business ran very well. But after a while, I realized that no matter how much sales we did, we were not pumping the money back into the business. And then I realized that my partner had not disclosed to me that he was in a financial doldrum. And he was in a total mess. When I went to him and I told him that I wanted to split with him, he took me to court. And that was a shock, because my brand name, Farah Khan, that I had worked so hard for, belonged to the company at that point. And I was asked by the court not to use that name without him being in the picture. All the hard work of 17 years was completely at a threat for me at that point. And I decided then that no matter what, I'm not going to let anyone take that away. So I went to court for 6 months. I thought that was the worst experience of my life back then. But today, I thank God, it was the best experience that happened to me. I ended up settling with him out of court. I restarted my life, took a bank loan, and built my own factory. So for me, my failures have been my stepping stones to success, because I believe that in order to take a long jump ahead, you need to run back so you can actually make that long jump.
Rahul, now you look at many businesses from the other side. You see people with ideas, energy, but you've also seen failures in some of the investments you've made. What do you think are the prime markers of people who may not succeed?
One of the fundamental issues that come with setbacks is in the context of how long the journey is and how large an enterprise can become. The setback at that point seems extremely large. For us as outside investors, we can help with a couple of things. Primarily capital that bridges you through some of those issues, but more importantly with some of the mental strength and setting the rocket direction in the upward trajectory. Some things that have gone wrong that we have seen, in our case, a lot of government regulations have come and hit businesses hard. So I think the second most common cause is just bad cash flow management. And the third one is I think founders come together because they fill some gaps in each other. There are complementary skills that they bring. And in many cases, either the leadership, which is part of the future thinking, goes away because they have a fallout, or the operational side of the business, the leader in that space leaves. So in either cases, one of the engine falls off, and you can't do much with only vision, or you can't only do with day-to-day execution. So the plane doesn't take off.
I think I'll wrap up the discussion here, because I think you have some insights into how people have bounced back, what are the kind of mistakes they made. Thank you all. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Raghu. Thank you.
Our next bunch of life stories touch upon the next step. Our first speaker to shed light on this subject is one of India's earliest entrepreneurs in the financial services world. May I welcome on stage the Chairman and CEO of the Edelweiss Group, Mr. Rashesh Shah.
What I've learned very early on, after the first cycle that we had, the first 4-5 years were very high growth for us, and then there was the internet, the internet collapse. 2000, 2001, there was a huge amount of slowdown. And what we learned at that time was companies move, when you're a small company, when you're an early stage company, you still have a project mentality. Then you get to a certain stage where you shift from project to process. And for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's not something very exciting, because the entrepreneurs thrive on projects. They thrive on firefighting, on jugaad, on all those other stuff. But as you become big, as the growth starts coming in, it is inevitable that you shift from a project mindset in the organization to a process mindset. You shift from just an execution mindset to a planning mindset. What I also learned is, people become very important. And as we grew, we have had a policy of people first, then customers, and then shareholders. Because if you don't have the right people who are motivated, have the culture of ownership, are empowered, then the customers will not be happy. And if the customers are not happy, the shareholders will not be happy. But your ability to manage the long term and the short term and really balance out, make good trade-offs between the two is where great companies get created. I want to end here, and thank you very much, all of you.
After a short break, we bring you yet another life story. The MD and CEO of Metropolis Healthcare, Ameera Shah's insightful take on the next step for growth. Stay tuned.
I think as a woman entrepreneur, the biggest challenge is to really find your own space